The Note 20 Ultra and the iPhone 11 Pro Max already went head-to-head in both our drop test and our speed test, so now it's time for the PhoneBuff style battery test. Taking a look at the spec sheet, the Note 20 Ultra does have the advantage of a bigger battery with a 4500 mAh capacity compared to the iPhone's 4000 mAh. That said though, battery size alone isn't the whole story. The Note has a larger display to power, and its display is more power hungry with a 120Hz refresh rate, so it's going to be interesting to see how this phone stacks up against the champ. Alright, we'll start things off on the phone test, where after going on a 1-hour phone call, the iPhone is able to take the lead, with its battery at a reported 99%, while the Note's battery drops down to 95%. Of course, this could just be that the iPhone's battery is over-reporting on its battery percentage early on. So as we go back and forth with our automated chatbot here in the messaging test, we'll see if the Note can make a bit of a comeback. But after 1 hour of texting, that doesn't happen, with the iPhone outperforming once again. Here in the email test, we're simply opening up the same set of emails and then scrolling through them a couple of times, where after a full hour of doing so, it's the same exact result as in the messaging test, with the iPhone adding another percent to its lead. So things aren't looking so good for the Note early on in this battery test. Now that could change here in the browser test though, where each phone is cycling through the same set of websites. But unfortunately, the trend continues, with the iPhone actually doing even better this time, adding 2 percentage points to its lead, bringing the total difference to 8 percentage points after just 4 hours of active testing. And things may get even worse here for the Note in Instagram, where we're continuously scrolling through the home feed, which means we're keeping that 120Hz refresh rate active. But somewhat surprisingly, the phones actually perform the same, with each of them dropping by 8%. Which is a bit of good news for the Note as we head into the 16-hour standby, especially considering that the Note's higher resolution, its bigger screen, and its faster refresh rates won't actually be a negative factor for it here, since obviously the screens are off. But unfortunately, this didn't seem to matter, with the iPhone still managing to outperform despite having a smaller battery. Now, that said, the Note didn't do poorly in the standby test. It dropped by only 8%, which, while not quite at the level of efficiency as the iPhone's 6% drain, it's still an impressive result. Here in YouTube though, not so much. The Note drops by a massive 14 percentage points, while the iPhone drops by only 8, meaning heading into the gaming test, the gap between these two phones is pretty big. The iPhone is a full 16 percentage points ahead, and after 1 hour of Alto's adventure, that gap only grows to 17%. Now, at this point, it's pretty clear that the Note isn't going to win this battery test, with the only real question now being how big the total difference is going to be. And after an hour of simulated navigation, the gap continues to grow, with it now being at 18 percentage points. Here in Spotify, we have both phones playing the same set of songs, with the speakers of course calibrated to the same exact decibel counts, where the 16% of battery that the Note began the test with runs out after just 55 minutes, while the iPhone's battery is still going strong at a calculated 24%. So a huge difference between these two phones, allowing the iPhone not only to finish Spotify, but go through a full hour of Snapchat, which by the way is the most intensive test in this entire battery test, while also not just going through another hour in app cycle, but an hour and 5 minutes before the iPhone finally dies, bringing the iPhone's total screen on time to an impressive 11 hours and 5 minutes, while the Note 20 Ultra lasts about as long as last year's Note 10 at 8 hours and 55 minutes, making the winner and still the PhoneBuff style battery test champ, the iPhone 11 Pro Max. Anyways, that is it for me in this video. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the very next episode.